Hey, and welcome to Eat Out at Home, the podcast. This is the place for those who love cooking and creating connections through food. I'm your host, Chef Evelyn, and on this podcast, I share with you my favorite tips and tricks for enjoying life one bite at a time. If you're ready for today's episode, sit back, relax, grab a snack, and let's dive in. Hey, and welcome back to Eat Out at Home, the podcast. And today I want to talk about something a little different on the pod, something that I had kind of promised myself I wasn't going to share publicly, a subject matter that I told myself I wanted to steer away from and that I didn't want to associate myself with. And that would be, air quotes, and insert major eye roll, healthy eating. Now, I have a very complicated relationship when it comes to the term healthy eating or prescriptive advice around healthy eating, particularly as someone who has embraced a more holistic natural lifestyle. It can be in this space very restrictive, very judgmental, and very one size fits all messaging. And the reason why I decided to do this particular podcast is because recently there is a very popular food blogger that I follow. I really enjoy her content. You know, she makes these beautifully delicious, vibrant, healthy recipes, right? But without being preachy or being on a soapbox. But there's lots of fresh fruits and vegetables, hardly anything processed, lots of organic ingredients. Is right up my street. And while I don't necessarily follow food bloggers because I need their content, right? I'm usually going off of my own inspiration. I just enjoy seeing what they're eating, seeing what they're making, etc. And so she had received some fairly unsavory comments about the fact that she shares air quote healthy recipes as someone in a larger body. And as someone who I am also currently in a larger body, which is funny because my dress size is about the average US size. So larger is relative, which is why I have such an issue with that. I thought I would come on here because I resonated with her so much. One of the reasons why I have steered away from the topic of healthy eating, I mean, if you scroll back maybe 5 years ago on the podcast, I used to talk about it, and I don't anymore because of this specific scenario, which is being in a larger body in a lot of people's mind equates to you are not a healthy eater, which is funny because when I look at my pantry, when I look at my fridge, when I look at what I eat on a day-to-day basis, I'm pretty much a whole foods person. I talk about having an ingredient-only kitchen. There's very little processed foods in my diet. Everything is organic. There are certain food groups or certain food products that I do not incorporate into my eating regime. And so I would consider myself a healthy eater, right? And it depends on what your goals for healthy eating are. Mine's are about low toxicity and whole natural ingredients and not necessarily about weight loss. And so she had received these unsavory comments, and she had talked about how that is one of the reasons that made her almost not want to share her face from time to time, that, that's kind of why she would keep herself hidden. And she was like, but this space is not monopolized by a certain aesthetic, right? And I'm pretty sure you can guess what that aesthetic is. I know lots of people who are quote unquote in larger bodies who have very healthy eating habits, but maybe in larger bodies for a variety of different reasons. Stress, hormones, a medical condition. It's their preferred way to be in the world. Like there's so many different things. And I want to say to you that, let me know if you want me to start about healthy eating content, because there's lots of fruits and vegetables in the things that I prepare. There's almost everything is organic. But this episode is not so much like giving you tips or solutions or whatever. It's just sharing with you that you can consider yourself a healthy eater, even if you don't fit into society standards of what a healthy eater looks like. And it's okay to be in that space. And I remember when I made the decision several years ago that I don't have to be unhealthy with what I eat to be healthy, or unhappy with what I eat to be healthy. I just was like, I do not subscribe to that. I do not subscribe to being miserable, to being healthy, that you can enjoy your food, you can enjoy life, you can enjoy cooking and still be a healthy eater according to your standards and what's good for where you are in life and what works for you. So this episode is just maybe a little rant session. And I remember I used to teach a course many, many years ago called the Fun Food Academy. And I had a whole section about getting clear on what healthy means for you, right? Because and again, not a favorite phrase of my, diet that is going to work for you is the one that you're going to stick to. And I'm not a big fan of like restrictive eating and all that. And I think sometimes when we see people on social media and they're going on a healthy eating journey, or they're going on a body transformation journey, or it may even be a weight loss journey, when you look at the foods that they're eating, they're not seasoning those foods. They're eating, boiled chicken and broccoli and sweet potato with no flavor. And it's like, yes, maybe you want to reduce some of the butter. Maybe you don't want to fry it, but you can't put some basil on it. Like, right. And, they're doing just, plain white rice and ground beef and, green beans. And it almost doesn't even look like a meal. Right. And I just remember deciding for myself that is not my definition of healthy eating, that I can still have vibrant flavors and I can still have variety and I can still have enjoyment and color, and it be easy and enjoyable and delicious and still be healthy. So just wanted to share that with you. Almost like give yourself permission to call yourself a healthy eater, even if you don't fit into society standards. I'm normally not a very kind of like hot topics kind of person, but it really upset me on her behalf to some of the things people were bold enough to say to her. And I'm like, she has a huge following. She makes amazing recipes. She works out, she eats well, right? Like, she seems like, I don't know her personally, but she seems like a really, really kind person. And I just thought, I'm really over that. And so also, if you're someone who had that belief that if someone is in a larger body, they can't share with you healthy recipes, maybe take a different perspective on that. You don't know why they're in that bigger body. That may be their preferred way of being. And if they want to live that way and they're healthy, then so be it. If you look at their recipes and you feel like this is delicious and it seems healthy to me, rock with it, right? If you look at it and you go, that doesn't work for me, leave it alone. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted to say that. I don't even know if I'm going to share this episode, but it just really got under my skin. And I think it's because I have had a similar experience of not wanting to brand myself as a quote unquote healthy cooking chef, because I was like, I don't believe in restriction and good and bad foods. It's kind of like cholesterol, right? People talk about good cholesterol and bad cholesterol. Well, the thing is, your body actually needs both. Now, your body needs one form of cholesterol in a higher percentage than the other, but that doesn't mean that the one where you need less is bad. You just need less of it. And that is my approach to food, that when it comes to food, there are some foods that are more beneficial to your certain goals you may have than others. There are some foods that you may want to enjoy not as frequently. You may not want to consume this as frequently or as in high quantities, but that doesn't necessarily make them wrong or bad, right? It just means you just need a different proportion of them. Like, I personally don't view a cake as something bad. What I do know is I don't need cake every day for me and my lifestyle. I don't even necessarily need it every week for me and my lifestyle. But when I enjoy it, there's no guilt there, right? So I just wanted to say that I'm going to be done with this. We're going to try to keep this episode short. But yeah, I just encourage you to find what works for you and you can take on the identity that you are a healthy eater despite what the world deems you have to look like. So with that being said, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you're listening on YouTube. And I believe you also can just leave a comment wherever you're listening, particularly if you're listening, I believe, on Spotify and on Apple. And make sure to leave me a review, but let me know what your thoughts on this topic are. I would love to hear them, obviously respectfully, of course, and I will talk to you in the next episode. Peace. Thank you so much for listening. If you're ready to start cooking at home consistently, make sure you join the Eat Out at Home Challenge. Visit chefevelyn.com/challenge for all of the details. If you're curious about what I'm cooking in between episodes, make sure to give me a follow on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook for some delicious behind the scenes. And if you enjoyed this episode, please head on over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify to leave us a review. Remember, eating out at home allows you to cook better, eat healthier, save money, and create community. And most importantly, cooking at home is the ultimate form of self-care. I'll see you in the next episode.